What's going on, 49er Faithful, 49er Fam, 49er Gang? It's your boy 49er Dion back here with another video. Now, as we last left off, we were talking about the fullbacks in the previous video, so we're going to get into these wide receivers. Now, definitely before anything, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. Well, one thing I will touch on really quick is our owner, Jed York, has went ahead and donated another $1 million to, any kind of organizations in the Bay Area and all over the country that are committing to change in this country. As you know, we have had the unfortunate death of George Floyd, and there have been a lot of riots and people have been tearing stuff up. And I can understand that people are fed up, man. They are fed up, you know. And the sad part is we got to find a way to get this shit changed, man. The laws and the system in this country's got to get better and get right. And when you don't listen, this is what people do. You tell people don't kneel. You tell people don't peacefully protest. You tell people don't do this, don't do that. You got people like Tommy Lahren and all these other people. Well, you shouldn't protest this way. Don't protest that way. So when you do everything peacefully, you do it the right way, you're wrong. And then when you go riot, you're wrong. So it's very unfortunate what's happening in the country, man. But until there's some actual change and police reform is implemented immediately, you will probably see a lot of this stuff continue to happen. But I'm here to go ahead and take y'all's mind off that. So let's get into the wide receivers that are currently on the roster. So I'm going to go wide receiver by wide receiver, give y'all a couple quick points and a couple quick hitters about the wide receiver, whether they make the squad or not. Let's get rolling. So obviously we have wide receiver number 1, Deebo Samuel. Now there's a lot that this dude makes the squad. There's no way that Deebo does not make the squad because of his versatility. He can catch passes, he can run, and when he runs like a running back, and he runs like an angry running back. So Deebo Samuel definitely makes the squad, and if you don't know anything about him, you might want to go watch his tape. He was a beast at South Carolina. He was a beast with us in his first year, and for a rookie to come in their first year and go straight to the Super Bowl, that's a beautiful thing. You saw Deebo's evolution take a step forward when Emmanuel Sanders got there, and it was just a beautiful thing. He ran that jet sweep to perfection. He did a nasty spin move when we played against Seattle, and they thought he was out of bounds. He was not. It's just a beautiful thing, man. So Deebo Samuel, guaranteed, thumbs up. He makes the squad. There's no doubt about it. Next guy we got up is KB, a.k.a. Kendrick Bourne. That's the Bourne identity himself. KB did the same thing as soon as E-Man got there. He wound up just changing who he was. But the one thing you can't say about KB is that he don't produce. You know why? KB still had 5 touchdowns. KB always produces in the red zone. In the red zone, he's a perfect threat. And if he catches the ball, it's usually either a first down or a touchdown. And you can't even be mad at that. He doesn't really get a lot of yak, but there are not a lot of situations where they put him in that are advantageous enough for him to be able to take advantage of that. A lot of the times when they throw to KB, he's usually pretty covered up pretty well. And I know there are a few times where he's caught the ball, and there's a few times where he's dropped it. And I know people sometimes get a little angry with him smiling all the time. But if there's one thing you can count on, KB is always healthy, he's always available, and he's always working. You can cuss that dude out, he'll be laughing, but he'll have heard every word you said, and he'll understand exactly what you mean. He will implement the feedback, and he will get right to it. And if you ain't seen that man on Instagram with him and Quan Alexander, that boy put in work this offseason. So I can tell you right now, any other receiver on the squad, don't sleep on that man, because he coming to keep his job. You know what I'm saying? So KB, for me, he makes the squad. Y'all know why I breathed like that and why I looked at it like that. Y'all know the name that's about to come up. Good old Dante Pettis. Now, Mr. Pettis this offseason has actually shown up to a throwing session that Jimmy Garoppolo set up. It was him, Trent Taylor, and a couple of the other players, I believe, but he did show up to the throwing session. So that's great, but that's all we know of him working out this offseason. Other than that, Mr. Pettis has been taking in photography and baking. And with my boy Dre, shout out to Dre and the Niners All Day crew. They just started their channel. If you don't know about them, go follow them. Niners All Day. That's my boy Dre and his homie Bronze. Definitely is great content. They just had Grant Cohn on. It's awesome, awesome content. Wonderful people. And you'll love listening to them too because they know exactly what they're talking about. Very knowledgeable. So, Dante Pettis, you know, we don't know much about him. We know that he likes cats. We know he likes baking. We know he likes photography. The one thing that we don't know is if he has the hunger and desire to get better and to play football. The end of his rookie year showed us that he had the talent and the skills because he came on very strong. But then the next year came and he all but didn't exist. Debo took his job. He was relegated to the bench more often than not. He even got put on special teams. Last year, I think he caught 2 to 3 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. I know he had one touchdown in Arizona in the corner of the end zone. He was like wide open, and then he had he had another touchdown against, I believe it was the Steelers, where he kind of came back to the ball, caught it, and then went in for the TD. But he didn't really do much. You know what I'm saying? And he seemed to be a very jolly and happy person just sitting on the bench. He didn't care, you know. And this offseason, Shanahan has told him, hey, I want to see you come in with a different hunger. I want you to put on a little more weight. Like, I want to see some drive from you. I want to see some dog in you, some fight. Like, you got to give me something. I don't know if he's been doing it or not, but nobody's really commented on him at all. None of the players have even talked about him. So, for me, to be honest with you, because I don't see anything in him that gives me an indication that he loves football and that he wants to make this team and that he wants to play football and this is his job of choice and that he's dedicated, he gonna make squad. Because we got a couple other players I got to get to that will tell you this is the reason why he don't make the squad. If he ain't got that kind of love for football, these other players do have it. So next up we got Richie James Jr. Now, Richie James Jr. was relegated to special teams. He was our punt returner and our kick returner. He wound up getting those jobs pretty much by default because we lost Trent Taylor. Richie's unfortunate issue is that he doesn't get enough playing time in the offense. So he only had a couple of catches, but I believe he averaged almost 27 yards per catch. So the thing with Richie is if you used him more, you would probably know more of what you have in him. I think he's a dynamic player. I think he's a quick twitch guy. He doesn't have home run hitting speed, but he's got speed that is not to be laughed with. You know, it's not to be joked around with. Like if you let him get behind you, he will take you. He will do what he can to take it to the house, and he's usually pretty good at that. So Richie is kind of a dark horse. Does he make the team? I don't really know. I don't think so. I think he's on the outside looking in because of the other names that will come up after him. And the reason is that he just doesn't get used enough in the offense. You know, punt return, kick return duties, and I think he was on the field maybe a couple plays. You know, averaging almost 27 yards a catch is a beautiful thing, but when you just don't get used, you know, that says something to other offensive coordinators and other teams around the league. They may think that there may be something that you don't have or whatever the case may be. But I can sit there and say honestly that I feel like Richie should be a more integral part of this offense because I think he would do some really, really big things. And if you see him in the preseason, the guy is nasty, man. When he is in that preseason, when we first drafted Nick Mullins, him and Nick had a nice little connection. You know, save for I think one ball where Richie, he didn't look the ball in. He basically tried to catch and go. And typically, you know, in the NFL, that's like a cardinal sin. You got to catch, look the ball in, catch it, and then make your move. You can't do all. There's very few players that can do all that at once. And Richie tried to pull that off, and he did. He dropped it. But, I mean, other than that, the dude's a solid player. I would love to see him make the squad, but I just don't think he does because of these other guys. Then you got Travis Benjamin. So we get rid of Marquise Goodwin. We ship him off to Philly. He is an Eagle now. And we go ahead and pick up Travis Benjamin. Benjamin is familiar with the system, so he has a leg up on any competition that is just coming in because he already knows the system, so he doesn't have to do much. But Benjamin is just a take the top off the defense kind of guy. He has had a couple of injuries here and there throughout his career, but he was never really a viable receiving threat. Nobody ever looked at Travis Benjamin and said, this is going to be my number one receiver, my number two receiver. They looked at him like they looked at Djax early in his career. Take the top off defense kind of guy. That's what your job is. Boom. Djax evolved, and if you don't know what I'm talking about Deshaun Jackson. He evolved into a better receiver over time. But that's not Travis Benjamin. Travis Benjamin has just been a take the top off defense kind of guy. So if he makes the squad, it's because of his speed and that element. It won't be because they believe he's going to wind up being somebody's number one receiver, because I can doubt that highly. It's not going to happen. Trent Taylor. Trent Taylor, we've seen what Trent Taylor can do. I know what his skill set is. Trent Taylor is a dope, quick twitch, nice slot receiver, third down kind of guy, and he will definitely be that dude that will take the top off he won't take the top off the defense, but basically what he brings is, that element of, little guy but tough as nails, man. Like, he's hardcore when he runs. You can't just hit him and take him out the game. Trent's got a lot going for himself. Last year he had injuries that just killed him. It did not allow him to be able to, advance and do anything. He had a couple of foot injuries that stopped him, and it was very unfortunate that those things happened because he was having a great training camp by all accounts. And this year he's got to get out there and prove it again. But he's got to prove he can stay healthy. He had some back problems, I think, the year before last. So we're trying to make sure that he stays fully healthy so we can go ahead and use him, because him and Jimmy have a great connection when he's on the field. But Trent, I believe Trent makes the squad. If that's the case, I'm going to give that a thumbs up. Say that Trent makes the squad because I see him being able to do the things that he needs to do and show Kyle Shanahan, hey, I've got this offense down. Me and Jimmy have got a great connection, and there's no reason that I shouldn't be here. Plus, I looked at Trent Taylor as a Wes Welker type. The only thing Wes Welker had on Trent Taylor was that he was healthy more often than not. So that's the only thing that really stopped Trent Taylor. But Trent Taylor, he makes the squad. Now we got Shawn Poindexter. This dude has been relegated to the practice squad. He's played in a couple of preseason games. He got injured last year. I'm not even going to get into him because I don't know much about him. He doesn't make the team. If he makes the team, he makes the practice squad again. And stashing him there would be way too easy because nobody wants him. Like, he hasn't done anything. There's nothing about him that says, I'm this big name receiver, you have to respect me. So, I mean, if he makes the squad, he's on the practice squad. I don't see anything else. Me personally, don't need him. Jalen Hurd. Big plans for Jalen Hurd last year, all derailed by a back injury. Now, he had a stress fracture in his back. He didn't play all last year. He didn't even travel with us to the Super Bowl because they thought that flight would, aggravate the stress fracture. From what I hear right now, they're saying that Jalen Hurd is fully healthy. He's ready to go. He's been medically cleared. By all accounts, they say he looks great when he's running his routes and he's doing the things that he needs to do. To be honest with you, it's going to be hard. He makes the squad because of what he brings. He only had one preseason game, but in that preseason game, he was a monster, and he had 2 touchdowns where he bullied his way in the end zone against at least 2 to 3 opponents on both occasions, and he just got to respect the dude. So Jalen Hurd, because of his mentality, makes the squad. I give him that much. Now we got Chris Fink. Chris Fink is a wide receiver out of Notre Dame. He is an undrafted free agent. Now, everybody's saying Chris Fink and Trent Taylor kind of mirror each other. Here's the thing. Chris Fink makes the squad if Trent Taylor is once again injured and hurt or anything like that, because Chris Fink will probably be a little bit of a slower Trent Taylor because Taylor's faster than Chris Fink. I've seen Chris Fink's highlights and I've seen him play. He's not that fast. He's not like a blazing fast type of dude. You know, he might get a step on you, but I mean, the average DB is going to catch this guy. So Chris Fink definitely has some good numbers coming out of college, but you know I think he got injured a little bit later in the last this last season that he played for Notre Dame. But I mean, I give Chris Fink a 50-50. You know, I'm not gonna say he won't, but then again I'm not gonna say he will. So Chris Fink gets a 50-50 for me. I like him. I like what he brings to the table. But I mean, if Trent Taylor's healthy, there's just no point to have him. And then our first round draft pick, Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk came out of ASU, and basically he had this explosion year because the offense was centered around him. The year before, he didn't get a lot of love because N'Keal Harry was there. And then after N'Keal Harry gets drafted by the New England Patriots, the focus centered on Brandon Ayuk. Now, Ayuk is a dynamic player. I feel like we drafted kind of another Deebo Samuel to an extent. But Ayuk has a versatile skill set. He can do punt return. He can do kick return. When he gets the ball, he's great with the yak. So that's the kind of guy that Shanahan loves. They went up and drafted him. I am definitely on record stating that going up to get him would have been a waste because he would have been there. But there was a rumor that Green Bay was going to draft him, and Green Bay blew smoke right up our asses and went ahead and drafted Jordan Love, the basic heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers, which to me seemed to be pretty much the thing that they were going to do regardless of what we did. But either way, he's on the squad. He definitely is, I guess for everything, all intents and purposes, worth the pick. And Brandon Ayuk makes the squad. You don't draft dude in the first round and go up to get him, and he don't make your squad. I'm sorry, he makes the squad. The only way he doesn't make the squad is if he winds up injured. God forbid that happens. We hope he stays fully healthy so he can go ahead and help this offense. And I believe this is Chris Thompson. Another dude, never really saw the field, but from the sidelines, always been a practice squad guy. And there ain't nothing about this dude that says he's gonna make the squad. So no. Not gonna make the squad. Not gonna happen. Then we got Jauan Jennings. We went ahead and picked him up in the 7th round. Jauan Jennings is a dog. He is a beast. This man right here wound up playing football at Tennessee. He was really, really good. Got a lot of fight in him. I love the fact that Jauan Jennings is one of those dudes who will make sure that you gonna take a licking before you take him down, man. He's a bull when he starts to run. Very good skill set. Got a lot of fight in him. I'll say he makes the squad. So, to be honest with you, I mean, you've got Deebo Samuel, Kendrick Bourne, probably Trent Taylor, Jalen Hurd, Brandon Ayuk, and Jauan Jennings. You know what I'm saying? You got 6 receivers. I don't believe he keeps more than 6 because you're just taking up too many spots on the squad. It just doesn't make sense. But if you got Deebo, Kendrick, that's 2. Then you got Trent, that's 3. Jalen Hurd, that's 4. Brandon Ayuk is 5, and Jauan Jennings is 6. Then you got Richie, Dante, Travis Benjamin, Sean Poindexter, Chris Fink, Chris Thompson, all on the outside looking in. Those are the guys on the bubble for me that say, hey, you're going to have to work extra hard to make this squad. The one thing that Richie, Dante, and Trent have on Poindexter, Fink, and Thompson is that they know the system and they know what's being run during the season. Poindexter and Thompson had a chance to get into the playbook, but they never really played unless we running that vanilla-ass offense in preseason, and now you're not going to learn anything with that. So, be honest with you, those are my guys that make the squad. Tell me what y'all think. Comment down below, and let me know what's happening, and I'm out.